This scary video was recorded in April 2024. A woman from Queensland, Australia was driving through Redland City near Brisbane when she faced a terrifying situation. As she drove down a small city road, she saw a man and a woman walking right in the middle of the road. What happens next will shock you. The man suddenly turned around and saw the car, and he became furious. He jumped onto the hood of the car and smashed the windshield with his fist. After that, he ran around to the passenger side and tried to open the door, but thankfully, it was locked. The woman's car had a safety feature that wouldn't let her drive away if something was on the hood. She couldn't reverse either because the woman was standing close behind her, trapping her in place. Luckily, when the man jumped off the hood, the safety feature turned off, and she was able to drive away quickly. She sped to the nearest police station and reported the incident to the authorities. This attack is still being investigated, and the suspects haven't been found. No one knows what the man was planning. Was it an attempted robbery, or could it have been something even worse? Two guys were on a road trip, driving through remote mountain roads. It was late at night, so they were driving carefully and staying alert. Suddenly, a strange, bright red figure appeared on the right side of the road, and their dash cam captured everything. The figure was tall and wore a very bright red robe or dress. It was slowly walking towards their car. They were miles away from any civilization far up in the mountains. So why would anyone be out there in such a secluded area? The guys were confused and very scared. Both they and the viewers are left to wonder who this person was and why they were there. Some viewers think it might be something paranormal, while others have more disturbing ideas, like this being a person from a cult meeting deep in the wilderness, wearing cult attire. Skeptics say it could have just been a lost person, but with such a strange outfit in such a remote place, that seems unlikely. Could this have been a ghostly spirit haunting the mountains, a cult member, or maybe even a killer? This scary dashcam footage was captured by a couple driving late at night. They were on a lonely road surrounded by thick forest. As they drove quickly, they accidentally hit an animal with their car. Feeling very upset, they stopped the car, thinking they had just killed the poor creature. But then, something strange happened. What they thought was an animal began to change shape right in front of them. What happened next was truly terrifying. They switched on their headlights, and what they saw made their blood run cold. A creature, looking almost human, jumped onto the hood of their car. It was hard to see clearly, but it seemed to be a person wearing a robe or cloak. The couple was completely frozen with fear. Without wasting a second, they quickly reversed and sped away from the strange being. They drove straight to the nearest police station and told the officers what they had just experienced. Shockingly, the police believed their story, and even mentioned they had seen strange things on that road too. The couple was left traumatized and probably will never travel that road again. They believe they encountered a shape-shifting spirit, likely a skinwalker, which changed from an animal into a human right before their eyes. This terrifying experience has left them convinced of the supernatural for life. This disturbing video was recorded on August 15, 2019. A police officer was driving down a road and his two-way dash cam captured everything. At first you see him texting while driving, something we should never do. This is what stands out at first, but what happens next makes the texting seem unimportant.
Will attempt to call 911. If you wish to cancel the call, please hold the phone button.
Out of nowhere, a car suddenly flies over the median and crashes directly into the front left side of the police cruiser. The impact is so sudden and strong that the officer is thrown forward, and the airbags deploy. If the officer hadn't been texting, he might have avoided the crash, but it would have been tough either way, and the accident clearly wasn't his fault. Shaken and hurt, the officer sits for a moment before getting out of his wrecked car. An ambulance is called to the scene. Thankfully, both the officer and the other driver survived, with non-life-threatening injuries. The officer was taken to the hospital to be checked by doctors. It seems likely that both the officer and the other driver made a quick recovery, but it's still unclear how and why the other driver ended up flying over the median into oncoming traffic. The most important thing is that everyone was okay. Here's a creepy dashcam video from near Sundance, Utah. A man and a woman were driving on the Alpine Loop to watch the sunset. After enjoying the beautiful view, they started to head home. But while driving past a dark, dense part of the woods, they thought they saw something hiding among the trees, something large and shadowy.
Oh, look, right there, stop, back up. It was right there, I just saw it. Gosh. I thought you were like going off the road.
Yeah, it was right around here, just past this corner, one of them said. Look, right there, stop, back up. It was right there, I just saw it. As they circled back, their worst fears were confirmed. A creature resembling Bigfoot was standing by a tree. Some people initially thought it could just be a bear, but when we slow down the footage, it becomes clear that this creature looks more human than bear-like. It has a whitish face, broad shoulders, and a dome-shaped head, none of which matched the description of a bear. The couple is convinced they saw a Bigfoot that night, and many viewers agree with them. Also, remember that Utah doesn't have any monkeys, gorillas, or similar animals. In fact, none of these animals live anywhere in the US, which rules out those theories. So, what do you think? Was this a real Bigfoot sighting? Let me know in the comments below. In Victorville, California, on June 17, 2024, a mother and son were driving down a busy highway. The road was surrounded by mountains. As they drove, they noticed something strange in the mountains. They believed they saw a Bigfoot, a giant, or some other mysterious creature. They think this because the mountain area is reportedly closed to the public.
No, porque mira, ahí se ve pequeña en la grabación, pero de lejos. De lejos se mira como que fuera, pero no. Si te fijas la distancia que es y cómo donde le quedan los arbustos, sobrepasa. Y una persona no sobrepasa.
This isn't a place where people can easily go or climb up and down. The woman said it wasn't a person and that it looked much bigger than any human. The shape of its body didn't look human either. When zooming in and looking at still shots, it does seem to resemble Bigfoot. It appears to be brownish, with a wide body and a domed head. The way it moved seemed unusual, but some people think it might not be Bigfoot at all, but another type of mysterious creature. However, skeptics believe it was just a person up there. What do you think? Did this mother and son really see an unknown creature? There isn't much information about this dashcam capture. A photo was shared, but the source is unknown. Supposedly, a man's parked car in a residential neighborhood in Ohio took a picture of a giant, hairy beast. The big question is, How could a Bigfoot be walking around a neighborhood without being noticed? These creatures are supposed to be very elusive and smart. So why would one be seen in a neighborhood? It was said this happened around 3 in the morning when everyone was asleep. But still, when we look at the photo, the creature has brown fur, visible feet and hands, and its mouth is wide open, as if it's yelling or something. It's just a very strange and puzzling photo. As I mentioned, we don't know where the photo came from, so we can't verify if it's real or not. But either way, it's still intriguing. In Hoederoot, South Africa, in June 2021, a man was driving down a dirt road in the wilderness. As he continued, he suddenly stopped his car because a huge African elephant was blocking his path. The elephant seemed angry at the man's presence, and this became clear when it suddenly charged toward the car. The elephant's strength was incredible. It shoved its tusks into the hood of the car, tearing it apart. It lifted the car and turned it around, and then, fortunately, it decided to leave, feeling like it had done enough. The man had a two-way dash cam in his car, so it recorded his reaction as well. You can see he is terrified and unsure of what to do. Luckily, the elephant left when it did because it could have done much more damage if it wanted to. The man must feel very lucky to have survived this encounter. It's a wild piece of dashcam footage, some of the craziest in the whole video. This video was recorded somewhere in South Africa. A man was driving to work when something terrifying happened to him, and thankfully, his dashcam captured the whole thing. From the left side of the road, two armed men suddenly stepped out, blocking his path. Then, a third man jumped in from the right side. One of the men, wearing red and holding a pistol, aimed it right at him and got very close to his car. Luckily, there were no cars behind him, so he quickly threw the car in reverse and backed up fast. He managed to put just enough space between himself and the men to turn his car around and try to escape in the opposite direction. The men ran toward him and got dangerously close again, but he barely escaped and drove away in the other direction. The scariest part of this encounter is that it happened in broad daylight with several people watching. Just imagine what happens on these streets in South Africa when no one is watching, and it's dark. This creepy video comes from an unknown source, but it's a pretty popular dashcam clip, and some of you might have seen it before. A man is driving down a path in the woods very late at night when suddenly, something strange crawls out of the bushes. The creature looks somewhat human and crawls across the path on its hands and knees. It's very pale and skinny, with its entire body a bright white color. As the man watches the creature move across the path, he feels very uneasy and backs away. When the footage is slowed down, You can see it has thin arms, a skinny neck, a large head, and a torso that's way too skinny to be human. The strange otherworldly appearance of this creature has convinced some people that it's a cryptid. Some think it might be the Rake, a pale, elongated humanoid creature said to lurk in the woods and terrorize humans and animals. If this is the Rake, it looks exactly as people have described. One thing is for sure, the video is terrifying, and the driver had no idea what he captured that night.